It's after midnight, and it's time for conversations about love, family, friends, sex, and life. It's Love and Life with Carol Riddick and Donavan West, only on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
What's going on, good people? Welcome to another episode of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at WURDradio.com. That's right, that's wordradio.com. You can catch us. And for those that are actually able to see us and hear us, thank you so much for joining us on our various platforms. We appreciate you so much. I'm one half of the dynamic duo. I'm Donavan West, alongside my partner in crime,
Carol Riddick. Hi there, family. Oh my goodness. I'm always excited to be here with you all. And you know, Donovan, when we get together, you already know.
Let the shenanigans begin.
They just don't stop. They just don't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Oh my goodness, family. We've not had a Perspectives episode in too long. It's been a few minutes.
I know. It's all your fault too, by the way.
Well, I know. I accept full responsibility.
Well, I was expecting more of a pushback than that. What is wrong with you today? You all right?
I accept full responsibility.
Wow. What journal are you writing in now? Like, what is going on? Wow, that was
my journal. Okay. I'm journaling.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm letting you know. Hey, partner, I see it.
You see it?
Mm-hmm. I see it.
But first of all, I've never had an issue owning up to my shortcomings. I've never had that issue. That's not been my issue.
Just like that's that quick, y'all.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Gotta take it back. Never mind.
No, anyone who knows me knows I have never had an issue owning up to my shortcomings because it hurts too much.
It wasn't a shortcoming, though. It's been busy. It's been very busy, as a matter of fact, for both of us. And you know how it goes with these schedules. Sometimes they run us. We don't run it. And nonetheless, the beautiful thing about it is that one thing we definitely have in common is that we miss you. That's right, WURD family. We miss you.
Yeah,
so we're here. We're here to connect with you, and thanks again to all of you that send us emails and just let us know your thoughts. Give us some additional perspectives on what we're talking about, and show your appreciation. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we do. We really, really do. I know we try to tell you every episode, not just on our Perspectives episodes. We try to tell you that. We try to remember, I should say, to tell you every episode. So just making sure that because we do mean it. We love the love that you give us. And we're happy to still be here. And we're happy that you are supporting us in all the ways that you are.
That's right. That's right. So you know what we do on Perspectives. We talk about a bunch of things. And
we do.
I know you got a couple things you want to bring up. I got a couple things here and there, but let me just first start off with a little acknowledgement of someone who just left us. The Queen. The Queen Elizabeth. She left, and she left an indelible, I would say, impact on society overall as the longest reigning monarch in British history. Now, for a lot of people that are listening, they're like, so what? Well, for me, actually, there's a lot of people that are like, well, that's over there, right? And
oh my goodness, that's horrible. Yeah.
It is horrible, but it is interesting that, again, when we talk about women in power, right? When you think about that perspective, one little known fact was that not many people actually expected her to ascend to the throne, especially in her earlier years when she was born. So the fact that not only did she do that, but to actually be on that throne for 70 years. 70 years.
Wait a minute. What? I didn't realize it had been that long.
Yes, that's the part I'm like, wait, what? Yes, 70 years. She passed at the ripe age of 96 and had been on the throne for 70 years. So, what she has done, I would assume, for many that see her in her role, in her position, and being active, not just being someone who just waved down the street, but having some opinion, talking about those things, being a champion for women overall. I think at the end of the day, definitely got to shed some light and some and provide a little bit of I don't know, just positive vibes
Mm.
for her existence. She
Yeah.
period by herself is a movement, in itself.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed. And like you said, Donovan, no matter what your feelings are about, what goes on in other countries or anywhere else, the fact is that a life is lost, and there
yeah,
are loved ones who are mourning that loss. So
yeah.
and oh
And I have a lot
wow.
of family, by the way, in London. So, I have so it's not like it's for me. It's not as foreign because London
Hmm.
has been a second or third home for me. Since I was very young.
I never knew
Um,
that. I
yeah,
never
yeah, yeah,
knew that, Donovan. I used to spend a
yeah.
lot of time in London.
Oh, see, we have that in common. I mean, I
Yeah.
have 7 uncles and aunt, a brother, tons of cousins, as you would imagine, and of course nieces and nephews. And so yeah,
Wow.
it's really, yes, this it's a large family base. And ever since I was young, I was, catch me in London, spending
Mhm.
some time with family. I haven't gone as often as I'd like to,
Mhm.
but yeah, shout out to all my fam in London.
Mm.
And sorry for your loss too, because I mean, again, it definitely has a larger impact, of course, in London and surrounding areas.
Well, now that you've shared that, it brings to mind the question for me, like how will it impact um, things in London? I don't know. I know so little. Okay,
Hmm.
let me just be honest with you, family. I know so little about the Queen's responsibilities in her existence, her life. I know that I know I'm aware of who she is and of her lineage, but
Right.
I have so little knowledge of what her responsibilities actually were. How will it impact? How will they be impacted?
I think the largest impact is like from a cultural standpoint, right?
Okay.
When you start thinking about lineage and legacy and all of
Mm-hmm.
that, royalty. Often, when we think about it or we refer to it, it's from a historical sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's not anyone that's typically in our midst that has that kind of lineage that we would regularly be able to access. And so I think for many people, that's a large part of like the role that they have in terms of the traditions,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like policies and things of the nature, and having some kind of real power. It's not my understanding that she has that kind of power, right?
Yeah, and mine even.
Or responsibility. Yeah.
I must say, to your point, I've always I don't know much about it because it was never really of interest to me because
Hmm.
it felt to me like okay here it like worship like royalty is worship of
Hmm.
falsehood and things of that nature, and
Right.
that's taboo to me, taboo for me.
Hmm.
So but again the bottom line is that a life has been lost, and
Yeah.
we're sending our prayers to the family of Queen Elizabeth.
There it is. There it is. So shout out to, Queen and surrounding, monarch. And again, it's very interesting when we think about, continuity, right? It's an end of a era, if you will. And of
Hmm.
course we
Hmm.
are familiar with, you know, uh, other family members, but there's nothing like the Queen. So salute.
Salut.
Um,
Salut.
so let's talk about some other things, in different other
Absolutely.
spaces. All right, let's get into it.
Listen, I have something I want to talk about. Okay. I want to
Okay.
talk about what feels like this attack on women these days.
Mm,
I'm seeing all of these posts
mm-hmm.
about the napkins being left in
Oh my
car
God.
doors and things of that
Let's
nature.
talk about the napkins, the zip ties, right?
Mhm. Wait, now explain the zip tie to me.
Yeah, the zip tie is something that is, there's a zip tie that's tied, well, to a door handle,
Okay.
and this is a way of, I guess you can call it scouting out, right? Potential victims. So they would put
What?
that on the door, and then what that would do is that as a person goes to that door, there are other people that are there ready to snatch up that person as a result of that. So that's a way to tag potential victims. Where basically I'm assuming that they've checked out that person, checked out a routine or whatever, and
Mm,
noticed that they are somebody that would probably be, a potential victim.
well, here we are
You know,
again.
yeah.
I was aware of the napkin and the rose, but now here we are with zip ties.
Hmm.
So for our family members who are listening, what I've heard, and I did actually speak with someone who said that her friend was a victim of the napkin incident.
Wow.
But she was with her husband at the time. They didn't realize she was not alone,
Mm.
so she was safe. She is safe. But as it pertains to the napkin, from my understanding, the napkin is placed. It can
Hmm.
be
And
on
the
your
door handle.
car, or
Hmm.
yeah, or but now in her case, she was inside it was like a club. She was at a
Hmm.
club, like at a seated, like at the counter or the bar, if you
Hmm.
will. So to be mindful of your surroundings, not
Hmm.
just your car, to be open minded that there are predators out there. But in any event, so my understanding is that the napkin is laced with something,
Hmm.
and when we, meaning women, touch it, then we're affected. I'm not sure if we are knocked out or we're just disoriented. I don't know. I
Hmm.
haven't gotten clarity on that. I know, with as it pertained to her, this particular woman, she she became ill and dizzy,
Hmm.
and severely disoriented, where she couldn't walk.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and the napkin is one, the rose is the
Hmm.
other. When you're presented with the rose, and
Hmm.
what do? We typically, I do it. You smell the rose, because I love flowers.
Hmm.
You smell it, and there's if the rose is laced with something.
Yeah, yeah. Ladies, please be safe out there. I mean, it's I don't know. It's something else. There's um, another situation they talked about. Where putting glass near the tire so that the tire
Mm,
there's a leak in the tire, and then eventually as that person's on the side of the road, there's also the situation where someone comes to the house and says that they need some help or whatever, and you go to investigate, and instead
mhm,
you're met with other people that are again, so as opposed to in that situation, of course, call 911 and don't try to investigate, right? There's so many people that go out, what's going on, or want to get something on
yeah.
video or want to do something else as opposed and get closer to the scene, distance yourself, So I do think that there are a number of different things that are circulating, how much of it is actually happening versus touching off on paranoia. I don't know, but it does in this situation, it doesn't matter. I
I was
just
about
think
to say.
it doesn't matter because I think some of that was also floating around. It's like, hey, everyone is jumping on this bandwagon, and this is now going viral, and we're creating all this
Hmm.
anxiety and paranoia. And I understand. However, right? However, it doesn't matter because for you to discern between whether or not this situation is someone being a clown putting a napkin in your door handle or a zip tie to mimic
Hmm.
something and create that kind of drama or not, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day,
Mm-mm.
keep your head on a swivel, be alert, keep your phone charged up, your whatever things you have on you to protect yourself, and be alert, travel in packs, do all the things that you can possibly do, because unfortunately we're in these times where if it can even be brought up to this level, right?
Hmm.
It's worth it. It's
How
it's worth
about
it in my
that?
opinion, right?
How about that? How about that?
Yeah, because that
It's
trafficking
it's
game
just
is
so
real.
sad.
That's very real.
But here's the thing though. So I've been hearing about trafficking for years now,
Hmm.
but it amazes me that we're just now talking about it. Like, I used to see billboards and
Hmm.
buses wrapped
Hmm.
with advertisements.
Hmm.
If you hear
Missing
anything about
persons
missing
and all
people,
that. Hmm.
well, no, well, specific with the specific language about human trafficking, not even
Hmm.
referencing someone that is missing, but saying, if you have any information about human trafficking,
Right.
call this
Hmm.
number. That's been for years now, which in my opinion meant that it was already huge back then. If
Right. Hmm.
the effort was made to put this information on billboards
Hmm.
and buses and vehicles. But now here we are. Now this is where we are. Like what? Like you said, whether this is someone just making, I don't know, making light, making fun, or creating hysteria, mass hysteria and paranoia, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that we do have an issue. We do have an issue, and that women are being targeted. We are being targeted. Also with the carjackings,
Yeah.
because that's been an issue in Philadelphia. Women who are believed to be single or traveling alone are being carjacked at
Yeah.
gunpoint.
I mean, there's nothing to say about that other than that. That's it's horrible. Period. And the to me, with the combination of all these things, right,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes now the highest level of domestic terrorism, right? Where now, in terms of the idea of you going places and spaces and just living your normal life, more people are turning more inward in terms of how they live life, and that's no life really to live, really, to be honest.
No.
But there's literally many people talking in different spaces about, you know, j- I order this from here, right? I am
Mm-hmm.
literally at home, like, unless, I mean, even going to the doctor now, telehealth, right?
I
Everything is now
know.
becoming a situation where people are creating
I
their
know.
little ecosystems, if you will.
Well, I'll tell you, I believe it's going to get worse
Yeah.
because we're already at the beginning of a recession.
Hmm.
I believe, now this is only my belief. I believe
Hmm.
that it is going to get worse and sooner as opposed to later. And because of that, I think that people are going to take more drastic measures. So I
Yeah.
think it's going to get worse.
Yeah, and I think that's partially accurate in terms of people taking more extreme measures.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you start getting into, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole too deep,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Mm-hmm.
do think at the end of the day, we have to be as proactive in certain instances and reactive in others. Right, right now we are already, as you mentioned, in the beginning stages of a recession. Right, everything is more expensive. A value meal ain't
Yeah.
even a value meal anymore. It's
OMG.
you
I
know
don't
you
even eat them. And I saw, saw the advertisement. It's like, wait, what is that? How much
yeah
is that? What are you getting for that? Like, oh
yeah.
my goodness.
Right. What used to
But
be a
you get
value
what you're
meal is
putting
like
in.
equivalent to like an appetizer at a restaurant,
Oh
right?
my
So,
goodness.
uh, but yeah. So I do believe that at the end of the day, when the resources that are needed increase,
Mm,
but the opportunities decrease,
yeah.
you do
Yeah.
absolutely have situations. Now, the other thing on the flip side of it, in terms of opportunities overall, jobs
Mm-hmm.
overall,
Mm-hmm.
there are
Mm-hmm.
jobs,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Agreed.
I don't, if you are out and about, you may notice that we are hiring signs in a lot of places and spaces,
Agreed.
and
Agreed.
many suspect that due to the COVID compromised environment, that
Mm-hmm.
many people have either opted to create their own situation or look at those types of job opportunities as not worthy, and it's
Mm-hmm.
created a major workforce challenge in terms of being able to get enough people for businesses that have a demand but do not actually have the workforce to support the
Right.
product, the production of the product. So another challenge that's out here now,
It
uh,
really
is
is.
especially as of more recent.
Agreed. 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 I know we both, I think, just said a moment ago, we don't want to go down the rabbit hole too far,
I'm
but
like, yo, I need a drink. What's a
I don't have anything. I
uh,
drank my tea, it's gone. But in
mm-mm.
any event, I do like to try to I like to try to see the silver lining, or the positive side of any situation. And I'm trying desperately. I'm trying desperately. I guess the one thing I will say is that there have been more entrepreneurs that have come about in this COVID compromised existence. So that's a good thing. But um, to your point, I don't know what's happening now. I don't know what's going to happen, but it doesn't feel good to me. It doesn't feel like whatever's coming down the pipe is good. It just
Well,
doesn't feel that way to me.
I will agree with you that there's a lot there and a lot of reason for concern.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I would caution many people to do is to consider is to think about what's our role in the overall solution of things, right? Because the people that are committing those crimes, or the people that are in these different situations, these precarious situations, well, they need our help.
Mm-hmm.
And and I think
Agreed.
we need to think about how best we can actually participate in the overall solution. But one solution we have right now for our program is called a break.
It's
And
called the break.
this is where we get to pay the bill. So we'll be right back after these messages. You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We'll be right back after this.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, that's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
We're often influenced by what we see or hear on social media. Beware of disinformation campaigns targeting Black communities by using cultural issues to incite divisions, spread false information, and negatively influence public opinions. We're in this together, and together we can stay informed and empowered. Learn more at nbcit.org. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things could never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. If you've just joined us, we've been talking about life and everything that it entails. We've been talking about Queen Elizabeth. We were talking about this, what I said, is an attack on women. We've been talking about that. We were talking, well, we didn't even mention Bernie Shaw because we lost Bernie Shaw as well, CNN correspondent.
Yeah.
Just so much. And then, there's just so much that's been happening that Donovan and I were sitting here just recapping. One thing I want to talk about that makes me happy.
What's that?
Founders Day.
Okay,
Oh my
let's
goodness.
talk about it.
Yes. Family, let me tell you something. Y'all know, because y'all saw me walking around there smiling all day. I think you saw each and every one of my teeth because I could not shut my mouth. I was talking, I was smiling, I was laughing. Donovan, don't fix your face.
What are you talking about? What are you
I
talking
see you.
about?
I see you.
No,
I told you have tells. You have tells.
Who?
You do.
Listen,
you do.
I saw you floating through the crowd, and I understand someone like yourself that's normally perched on the stage. I get it. But there you were amongst the people. Continue, please.
What are you talking about? Crazy. So wait, I had to tell him now. Now, ladies, y'all know. Okay. Well, maybe you don't. I don't know, but in any event, what I know is that for me, after a certain age, when you take a photo of me, you gotta take it.
I wasn't even going to talk about that selfie.
Oh, absolutely. I share. I don't have any problem talking about that. I have no problem. So I said to him, listen, I'm a woman of a certain age. I don't have a problem sharing 2 necks, but not all 5. So can you please change the perspective?
You know what?
We have the camera like down here.
And it did remind me. No, it reminded me of those African princesses that would have the rings around their neck and they'd be stacked. I was like,
don't do it.
You look like royalty.
Then you know what? That thank you. That's life. That is royalty. But guess what? Okay. I did not want it to be on display as much. I was trying to give a better perspective of my royalty. How about that? Okay.
I like that. The other thought that I had is, remember the toy we used to have back in the day with the different color rings, and they would be stacked up, and it would be the shape of like a cone or a triangle, and the rings would be smaller sizes.
Toy.
You didn't have that, and they were different colors. Oh, okay. Never
what was
mind.
that called?
Never mind. It's just a thought that came to mind.
I had a
but
slinky
anyway,
that had rings. Like my slinky had rings, but I'm not sure if
you have less.
Right now.
You have less rings than a slinky, and you know
Praise
what?
God, thank you for that. I told
Carol, you're beautiful, but I did listen. I listened.
He did, and you know what you did? You know what he did? Wait, family, let me tell you what he did. What he did. He listened to me, and then he took the photo. He said, "Oh my goodness, you're right." I said,
She told me the right angle to take she was like, look, I know this life. Let me show you. And she showed me the different angle, and I was like, oh my God. It was day and night. It was day and night. I'm not gonna lie. I did, and I couldn't even hold it back. I was like, I've been
He
schooled.
was
Say
so
less.
shocked and surprised. I said, you go up. When you take a photo of a woman, you go up. That's what you do. It's about angles and perspectives. That's what I'm learning. Trust me, because I'm horrible at this, but I'm learning. I'm learning
Listen,
because
I
people tell
solved the
me.
mystery of the theme behind all of your PR stuff. I was like,
You told
there
me
it
that.
is.
Well, wait, and then I said to you, I had no idea when the photos were being taken, when the photographers were telling me, do this and do that, and blah blah blah. I had no idea that's why. That was
Mm-mm-mm.
why.
They know.
Now, of course, I know. So, they were helping me. Okay.
It's all good. It's all good.
So I just
Listen,
helped you because you don't want some woman to curse you out. If you take a photo, if you
look,
hold that phone of yours at her waist trying to take a picture, holding it, don't do that. Don't you do it.
I thought I was taking a picture that made you look taller.
See, thought comes from not knowing. I helped you. Now you know that is not what you were doing. That is
I
not what
did. You
you were
looked
doing.
taller. You just had some,
I looked like a hobbit.
you did not look like a
Oh, but I
hobbit.
did. Oh, but I did.
Listen, in comparison to me, now that's different because I'm a I am an abnormally tall. I mean, most people
No,
are not 6'6", so that's different. You know what I mean? So there's that. There's that,
there's
right?
that one.
There's a foot and some change. Difference. And let's just call it what it is, so so yes, where other people screaming,
Oh
"Hey,
my
just sit on his
goodness.
lap." Listen, it stop. All
No
right, good
one was
people, stop.
screaming that. No
Nobody's
one. No one was
listen. No,
screaming that.
no, she's
No.
not my child. This is not. This is not. This is not
Family,
Christmas gardens. This
no
is not that. So
one was screaming that.
it's not
Okay.
that. It's okay. It's just a
Heavens to
small, well,
Murgatroyd.
larger than small, height difference. But anyway, moving right along. It
So
was
what I
great to
want to,
see everyone.
yes, it was so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah.
Because as we, keep saying, we're in these COVID compromised times and we're just getting out. There's still so much out there. We've got
Mhm.
so much from which we're running right now in the form of diseases and,
Oh,
and what
right,
have you.
right, right.
But it just felt so good to be out and amongst our WURD family. It just felt so good to see y'all, to hug y'all, it just felt so good.
And I'm so happy that no one came with complaints. Thank you so much, good people. I appreciate that. I saw one person. I was just like, not here, not now.
Ooh,
Not.
did you anticipate complaints? I don't
No,
know.
just sometimes you say things that are just a little bit on edge, and I tell people all the time like she don't mean any harm. I tell the people like
Do
you
you?
just gotta seek first to understand.
Do you? Do you tell the
Yeah,
people?
yeah,
That's
I
what you
do. I tell
do.
the people. I
You
tell the
do.
people.
Really?
Yeah.
So tell me, what kind of what have they told you? What have they said to you
No,
about what I've said? I'm really
no,
interested
we're
in
not going to
knowing.
do this here.
No,
We're
no,
not
no.
going
Come
to do
on.
this here.
That's where we
No,
do
just
it.
sometimes people don't quite understand certain things that are being said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Listen. I
Mm-hmm.
tell people all the time, you just got to seek first to understand. And if you went to the same schools of enunciation, you would get it. Okay? That's what I tell them.
You just constantly come for me. You just don't let it die. You just don't, but it's okay. Let me tell you
No,
something. Let me tell you something. There are family members who do appreciate my pronunciation. Okay. There's some I
I've
get it.
learned too, by the way. I do the same
You
thing now when I say
oh
WURD. See, I got that from you, Carol, and thank
yeah,
you so
well,
much.
because you used to say WRD. Like, no, there are two different letters. There
Yeah, I
WU.
understand. And
Yes.
sometimes when
But you know what? Let me,
I'm pronunciating things, like I'm like, you know what?
you're pronouncing.
I'm pronouncing like I'm pronunciating. So
You,
I'm doing something. I'm saying it.
you're doing something. That is oh my goodness. Wait. So let me share this. So, family, as we're in the midst of this talking about, the way my diction, um, I'll share this. This was years ago because, of course, I've talked like this all my life. So, years ago, I'm in a store and I'm talking with someone and I'm just talking. I think we were looking at DVDs or something. I said, "Oh, I remember this. I saw this. I'm going to get this, and I like this, and blah 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 blah." This lady, she was standing a few feet away from me, looking, shopping herself, and she said, "Oh, I just got to get away from her. I can't stand her voice." I said,
Ouch.
I know. I had a moment. I was like, huh, because she made sure I knew that she was talking about me, but but then I thought, I know. Well, some people just have difficulty dealing with whatever their issues are. Like, well, and I shared with you what happened to me, so I could share this too. Family, things are always happening to me. And to that point, I was driving. We're going to go off of that story because that happened so long ago. This particular story that I'm about to share happened yesterday. It was yesterday. I was driving and I came across this woman, and she looked distressed. She was between two cars. She was standing between two cars, and I saw her. And I felt like she may have been distressed. So I wanted to help, So I slowed my car down, and I was just about to roll the window down. I had my finger on the button, and I was looking, and she gave me her middle finger. And I said, "Oh," I was like, "Oh,
wow."
But I thought she didn't even flash it. She held it there, and then she glared at me. Like, she had choice words for me. So I looked, I said, "Huh." Oh, wow. So my first thought was, wow, okay, mental health is real. It really is. But then my second thought was, wow, she was taking a chance, because now I had slowed down to make sure she was okay, but I could have put my car in park. She didn't know if I was dealing with something.
Oh, and get out the car and handle that.
Don't do it.
You was about to be like,
no, I would not do that. But I'm saying, she did not know that. She did not know that, I might have had a harder time dealing with whatever I could have been dealing with than she was dealing with whatever she was dealing with.
But so you could have had a thugged out moment, though.
Don't do it.
I mean, you could have been coming from the studio where you were just laying down vocals for the bridge for a rapper or something, and you was just feeling a little husky. You could have been doing something for like Beanie Siegel or Freeway or the Roots or somebody, and just been like, "Yo, like I'm feeling myself a little bit." In what? What's that bird for? Like, what? I got these hands for you. You put that thing in park.
Let me tell you something. I've been blessed to do what I do for a very long time, so I am never feeling myself when I'm coming from the studio, no matter what I'm singing. Let's be real on that. But the second part of that is, you can't let somebody else's energy transfer that easily or that quickly. Like, I don't know what she was dealing with, but clearly she was dealing with something. But it really, the first thing, wow. And then I thought, that's why I always say, be good to you, but be good to those around you, because you never know what somebody is dealing with. You never know what's going on in another person's life. And to your point, I know you were joking, but you're right. I could have snapped. I could have had a moment where, that could have been a trigger or something of mine.
Well, you just said it. Be good to you, but be good to those around you. And then what happens when you're being good to someone around you and they flip you the bird on some random act of rudeness?
Then you
don't teach them a lesson.
Yeah, you do, but you teach them the lesson that you're not going to let that energy transfer to you. That's what you teach them.
So you can't transfer these hands to them.
You know what? When is our next break? Because
I'm just messing with you. You know what, good people, y'all already know it's time for a PSA. Okay, it's time for a PSA. Let's get into the PSA. Because it's absolutely necessary that we understand this. Okay, okay. Good people, do not let what people are change who you are. Okay. All right. So people may run around, and what people are usually pertains to their function. Who you are pertains to your character. So just remember that. All right. That's today's PSA.
I like it.
Thank you.
Okay.
See,
I wasn't sure where you were going to go.
I got you. I know I be clowning a lot. I know.
You do. I wasn't sure.
I got you.
wasn't sure.
As a
I was
person, by the way, whose buttons get pushed quite often, a lot of times people think that because, you're a big guy that you should both, they want to just start with something that's physical. And I don't understand why. But I have 20 of those stories a day where someone is pushing a button and expecting you to just kind of respond in that space. And I think at the end of the day, here's the thing that comes to mind. I said this the other day when someone was literally trying to push a button. There are a lot of people that are zombies. And zombies, just like, Dracula and werewolves, their sole objective is to make you like them. So be careful of their bite. Okay, because that's the goal. The goal is just to bite you and turn you into one of them. And I really move and navigate in these spaces with that same perspective, is that when I see someone trying to bite me and that way is antagonize me or whatever, get me to turn into, Mr. Rah-Rah or whatever, I really have to say to myself, this person is, they literally just want me to be like them. They literally want to bring me into this other space. So just be careful to navigate those types of situations.
I don't know. I think you might be the person that throws hands. I don't know.
Speaking of throwing hands, I'm going to throw my hands on the controls and transition us to this commercial break. You're listening to Love and Life on WURD. My partner in crime, Carol Riddick, and I will be right back after this.
I'll never forget the day I nearly died. I was a young journalist with a great career, starting a family. The only way we found out I had any kind of heart issue was when I went into sudden death. My coworkers sprung into action. They've recently been trained in life-saving CPR protocols developed by the American Heart Association. They're the ones that kept me alive until the medics came. They did many tests on me in the hospital after my cardiac arrest and created a treatment plan, all with research from the American Heart Association. I think unless you are a heart disease patient, you may not know how much work the American Heart Association does behind the scenes to save your life. Since my cardiac arrest, I've had 2 more children. I've watched all 3 of my children grow into adulthood. I'm going to cry now. Graduate from college. My daughter got married. I have grandchildren. And I'm still here.
Learn more about the American Heart Association's work at helpheart.org.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Everyone loves a champion, someone whose performance puts them head and shoulders above the rest. But not all champions wear a medal or hoist a trophy. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, we see champions everywhere we look. In every sport, on every court, we're building a foundation to ensure all athletes are safe, supported, and strengthened. We believe abuse can be prevented by taking a hard look at how we coach, how we train, and how we interact after the last whistle. We have provided over 2 million safe sport trainings. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, ending abuse is not just our job. It's our promise.
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is him. Every day he's hungry for something. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, then it kind of starts to work itself out.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and braised in culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food History and Culture, every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Independent Black Media.
Welcome back, good people. You're listening to WURD. That's right, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. The show is called Love and Life. And of course, as you would expect, we're talking about just that, but from our perspective. So again, the views of Carol Riddick and myself are not necessarily the views of the radio station or anyone else that's in affiliation. These are just our perspectives on what's going on.
How about that? How about
Yeah.
that? So, I want to go back to the conversation about the royal family.
Mm-hmm.
So now, does that mean that Prince Charles will become king? I'm only asking for point of information. It's not affecting my life in any way.
King Charles.
What's his name?
It's going to be King Charles.
Oh, he will become the king.
I believe so, yeah.
The king.
Mm-hmm.
What does that
Mm-hmm.
mean? What does that mean?
You know, there's a lot of pomp and there's a lot of stuff in terms of, tradition. And because, again, you have the Commonwealth and you have all these different segments of the land that were bequeathed to the kingdom, right? There is this, there's a process in terms of, what I would call a approval and acknowledgement and inclusion. But I would not profess to know all the intricacies of it, but much of it has to do with, again, just the tradition in terms of, this land was created and how it expanded upon the actual kingdom or queendom, right? This is all very much still in place. So the value, right, when you start thinking about the jewels, the amount of money that's related to the actual real estate and all the things that were actually under that, under their control, it does play a part in terms of not just the tradition, but how people still are adhering to the hierarchy in that space, which is interesting because there's a new woman president. There is other people of actual influence and that actually do guide the society in terms of economics and politics and things of the nature. And then the kingdom part or queendom part is it's a bit it's a bit confusing. So
you know what? You said a lot.
Yeah.
And I heard nothing.
You heard nothing.
I did not. You know what? And that's terrible. That's terrible because I asked you.
It is terrible.
It is. I asked you a specific question, and then I left. I was no longer present. I left. I did.
You went walking with Chloe. You did. You just now in your brain.
I really did.
You did.
I
saw it. I saw it.
really did. We went on a long walk. So family, I'm sorry, because I did ask Donovan a question and I do like to be present, so that we can communicate and converse. But I disappeared. I
You did.
left right after I asked you the question, and I'm sad to say that
Yeah,
I don't know
you
that I
went
have that
back.
much of an interest
You don't. You don't. We talked offline. You know, you surprised me just now by accident. I was like, really? She went.
Well, no. I ask because I have no knowledge of their hierarchy. I have no knowledge, like none, because I typically have just not had an interest in it. But I was curious for that one moment, to know. So what does that mean now? So does the prince become the king? And then I thought, what? We're in 22, about to be 23. And my feeling is that what we're talking about kings and queens and what and
Yeah.
what
This
and
one would have
what
been
and
brought to
what.
you by sowhat.com.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I
That's
went
where
right.
you.
That's
Yeah.
where I
You went to
went.
that site. Yeah.
Oh, I went there. I was
Yeah.
there. Chloe and I were taking a long walk there.
I saw it.
We were,
I saw
yeah,
it.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm not proud of it because
I don't know. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
proud of it. I'm not
I
proud of it.
literally, as you were
Mm-mm.
asking the question, I'm like, why do you care? You don't.
I
But
don't.
you
I
did for that
don't.
moment, and
I
that's
mean, for
why.
that, but you answered my question. You said yes, he will now become the king, and I think I left at that moment, like right then and there.
Okay. Yeah. There it
Yeah.
was.
So I heard nothing else you said after that.
Nothing. Yeah.
No.
Well, I guess you should, like our audience, if there's anything that you missed in our broadcast, you can always go back to our site and hopefully you can catch a recording. Now, not that you'll be as interested as
Yeah.
as Carol here, because clearly she's chomping at the bit to just do more research. I'm being totally sarcastic when I say that, but it's okay. And I know this much about you. I know that when you're interested in learning about something, you
Oh, I
go
go
in.
in. Oh, I go
So the
all the
fact
way
that
in.
you said from the top of this broadcast, like, I don't know, and
Mm-mm,
I said, you know what, she has no, she has
mm-mm,
no interest in this,
mm-mm.
but
But I am terribly sorry for their loss. Now that is the truth. That is my truth. That is the truth. At my core, I'm really, really, really sensitive about about loss. So I do mean that. But as it pertains to what happens next,
yeah, you will not be watching the procession and all those things that'll take
no,
place, right?
no, I
So
will not.
understood.
There's a procession to follow. Oh, I guess the funeral. Will that? I guess. Well, I
Yeah,
don't know.
there's a couple of things that'll follow in that space, but
Really?
at the risk of not even being heard, I'm just gonna leave that right there.
I
Yeah,
sound so
I'm just
ignorant.
gonna.
Really? Like what? In what world have I lived? But clearly, I've not paid attention to what has taken. Now, I did like Princess Diana. I did like her. I liked her. I liked her a lot. But I think I left after her. I think my
Wow. Okay, that was about 30 years ago, but
and it
okay.
was it. I will tell you. Wait, really quickly. So my mother loved Princess Diana. She loved her, and I remember. I don't know from where I was coming, but I was coming into the house. My mother's house. Coming into my mother's house. It was at night, and she was crying, and I was so concerned. She was, really, really upset. I was like, Mom, what, Mom, please just tell me what is going on. What's happening? What's happening? She was upset because Princess Diana had passed. She said, Diana's gone. Diana. And I was like thinking, who is that? Like, do we have a family member named Diana? I could not, I had that moment. Like, I don't know Diana. I don't know who Diana is. But she was so upset because Princess Diana had passed, and because of the circumstances, around her. She was distraught. My mother was distraught.
Yeah, I could understand that. I mean, that was
Yeah.
news heard around the
That's
world.
from where I get it. I think because
That
I'm
part
so
right there?
sensitive and emotional. I got it from my mother. I know I did.
Except for the being sensitive about, yeah.
What happens next? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
about that
now
part.
there's so many other things about which to be sensitive. I don't really see the importance of the kings and queens, and I don't know. Maybe it's just something that it was lost on me, but I don't see the importance of a king and a queen. Having a king, a queen, a prince, a princess. Like,
Well, in other
we're all
places,
human.
I think in other parts of the world where the king is literally the king in terms of how they actually rule, right? When you think about a democracy versus other forms of government. So I think that's what's different in this space is that you don't really you really actually have a dichotomy of
I don't want you to go through any of that. I don't want that for your life.
you don't,
all of what you're saying, I'm fully aware of. What I'm saying is that we're all human. I don't feel like there's a need in 2022, almost 23, for us to have the kings and queens and the princes and the princesses, because there's so much that we could do for one another. Like it just makes me upset.
That's interesting. So what do we replace them with? Should we just turn the kingdom into
prayer and faith? We need listen.
Get some smart people and turn it into a big old WeWork for the for the country.
Oh, so we've got jokes. Family, listen. We've enjoyed your time with us. This is the end of our program for tonight. Have a great night, a great morning, and a great rest of your day. Remember that we're all in this together. So be good to you, but be good to those around you.
Stay tuned for the next episode of Love and Life, where we'll be, of course, talking with someone that you would want to hear from. Just stay tuned. We'll see you soon. Bye now.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food, marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and braised culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food, History, and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Oh, hey, Julia. You ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's going to play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still has to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Yeah! Sam, Elmo!
Oh, hey, Julia. You ready to play band with us? I'm gonna play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black